How's it going, guys? It's Going Off Grid. Today we got a new inverter for review. They sent me this one for free, but they could only send it to a US address, so I had to get it sent to my aunt's. And by the time I got it shipped here, I could have just bought this thing. Oh well, shipping's expensive. Learned that the hard way. Anyways, we'll do a review on this. I've seen some channels doing reviews on this, and I just want to have my take on it. I will say shipping was not the best on this poor inverter, as you can see. But this is probably not from REDODO shipping it to my aunt. So it's probably from my aunt shipping it to my place. Canada Post. Not very good. Well, sometimes they are. It depends. I actually think what happened is the border crossing is most likely where this got damaged. They really don't give a crap about any of your stuff. But, yeah, so we're going to open this up and take a look at it. Okay, we're in. And here you can see the extensive damage. It's pretty bad. But that's most likely from shipping. Well, from shipping from my aunt's to my place across the border there. You can see where it even bent where the screws go in, unfortunately. But I'm sure this thing will work just fine. Everything else about it looks okay. I don't see any problems. I'm going to try and bend this back so at least the fans, the only thing it might be is the fans might not be working, or at least they won't last as long, because you can see that one's completely twisted. It's too bad. But anyways, on the inside, let's see here. For 2,000 watts, it looks like, what is this? 14 or 16 gauge. Looks like, I think it might be 14 gauge. If it's 14 gauge, it's definitely good enough. If it's 16 gauge, it's still technically good enough, especially in this application. It's not in the wires in your house, because there's a much stricter code to follow, but in a mobile inverter like this, it is okay to use 16 gauge. Got some nice thicker wire. We got two rounds of 8 gauge, which is a little on the thin side for the inside, but they got cooling fans that are running cold air, and that's probably how they get away with a smaller wire on the inside. Lots of fusing. Holy smokes, we got 80, what is that, 80, 160, 320 amps worth of fusing. That is a lot of fusing. This thing must be able to push some decent current if it's got that much fusing. What else? Can we see any of the MOSFETs or anything here? Let's see. Oh, right. Let's get a light on. And let's zoom. Okay, so this is just the input or the output. That is the output. Okay, so we got our diodes down here. Let's see if I can focus this. Oh boy, come on, can do it. Anyways, right down there has 2 legs. That is a diode. There's a bridge of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 diodes. These are your output FETs right here. There's a model number and everything on it, guys. There's 4 of those. And then these are your input FETs, or yeah, input FETs here. These ones I can't see. Everything looks nice and tight though. If you can't spin the clamps, you know everything's good. Got a thermal sensor there. You got a thermal sensor on this one too. That's nice to have it on both sides. A lot of companies just find what they do is they'll look for the hot spot in the inverter, and depending on the wattage and depending how many FETs are on each side, whichever side gets hotter, they'll just put one thermistor there and call it a day. They have one on both, which is nice for redundancy. Looks like they have 2 on this one. Look at that. What in the world? They have 2. Oh, here, so you can't see nothing. They have 2 thermistors here. One on the low side and one a little higher up. That's very interesting. So there's 3 in this unit. It looks like they're probably switching off this one most of the time, and this one's just a, if it gets really hot type deal, it'll turn on. Nothing on the transformers, probably because the transformers are not a weak spot. I don't know what this is. It's like a wire or something here. Weird. Everything looks good though. I don't see anything really bad about it. A little bit extra wire there. Lots of pots all over the place, probably for voltage and frequency. Fairly clean board. Yeah, nothing bad to say. We just got to test this thing out and see how well it works now. And we're going to bend that back. Okay, so we got the battery hooked up. Now, these batteries should be able to provide enough power. These are, oh, what are they called? They're lithium phosphate cal cells. They can dump a ton of power, but I don't know about my BMS. I believe this is only 150 or 120 amp. If that's the case, it's going to shut off, but we're going to try it and see if it'll set a compressor. There we go. We're sitting at 14.2 volts. And what about our 109 volts, 110 volts. Let's turn it on and see what happens. Wow, that wasn't a problem at all. Okay, well, we're going to have to get ourselves a kilowatt meter on the front of this and see what we can do. Okay, so we added a little 1500 watt heater. We're going to point that this way. And then we're going to see if we can run both these at the same time. But first we're going to see how much this takes. So we're sitting at 0.1 of a watt just sitting there. We're going to turn it on. Let's watch this thing climb. And see what it settles at. Watt meter on the inverter is not far off, man. That's not bad. Okay, so yeah, it's not bad at all. It's about 1300 watts. Shut this off before we use too much battery or power to the battery before we can't use it. But let's get a splitter on there. Okay, turns out I didn't need a splitter. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this heater, we're going to turn the compressor on, which we actually never saw how much power it takes. Let's do that real quick. We're all ready to go. Here we go. Okay, 725 watts. That's because it doesn't have any air in the tank, I don't think. Where's the release? Oh, it has a little bit. So we're going to turn this on. No, this on, and then we'll turn this on, which will get us right at around 2,000 watts. Okay. See what it does. There's our total output there. We're definitely dropping in voltage. Now that's due to because I know that my BMS was probably what gave out there. Yeah, because it cut all power. So that's what it was. So let's see if we can get that back on. Okay, let's try this again. Got a much bigger charger, and this has 30 amps continuous and an 80 amp engine start. So we're going to do the exact same thing. That should take about 80 amps off the battery, or probably close to 50, which still might be enough to actually do this test. So first off, just get it going. There we go, we're charging. Now, REDODO makes, or REDODO, however you say it, makes a charger, I believe. I saw in another video. And I bet you it's better than that one. This one's okay. Kind of low grade charger, but we're gonna see how she does. We're gonna try running this again. We'll turn this on. And right before we do the test, I'm going to hit the engine start. And we're going to give it a try. So we're going to turn this on first, and then do engine start. to do this now. The voltage is staying much higher because the input voltage is staying higher. But as the input voltage drops, 11 volts, so does the output voltage. And again, we tripped. Oh. It automatically turns back on once it senses the voltage is hit above a certain voltage. I don't know what threshold it is, but it seems to be doing that. This turned on. Let's turn this off. Did my battery stay on? My battery is on. So we got to almost 2,000 watts, so we need another battery. Okay, so I cannot find another 12-volt battery, so I figured out how to use this one. Now, this is still kind of undersized, so we got dropping the lines. This is actually what the inverter came with, is actually better than this. So if we don't get to it still, it's definitely because of this. This is only 4 gauge and it's aluminum line as well, coated in copper. But we bypassed the BMS with the included cable that REDODO that's sent with the inverter. So let's try the same thing again. We'll hit engine start and see how long this will run. So we'll turn this to just charge first. Okay, so we're charging 14.1, 14.2, 3, and I'm going to turn the compressor on, and then I'll turn engine start on, and I'll turn the inverter on. Input is dropping, so is the output. I think if we kept the input above 12 volts, the output would stay at about 108, 110. But look at that, guys. 1,800 watts. That's amazing. Not bad. Our 60 seconds is almost up. So I gotta shut this off here. Started chirping because the input voltage was getting low. Wow, it's a pretty good little inverter. Now we haven't heard the fans come on. Actually, you know what? They probably come on with load. Let me see if I turn this on. Do they come on with load? Or is it temperature only? Okay, we're sitting at 1,200 watts, still no fans, so I'm thinking it must be thermal only then. Here's a brutal test, okay? Let's run the heater and then start the compressor, because that's got a huge surge and now it's already got a load on it, 1,300 watt load. So I'm gonna hit the engine start again. Let's go engine start. Now this is what blows up inverters, guys. Let's see what happens here. Wow, I did not think that was gonna work, and I'm already convinced that this will start bigger loads than most 3,000 watt inverters will. I've seen a lot of 3,000 watt inverters but won't do what this just did, especially on a 12 volt model. That's crazy. I don't know. I have to look up how much these are, but this is looking like a really nice little inverter for 12 volts. That's crazy. I'm surprised they only put 2,000 watts on this. A lot of companies would have said 3,000 or 2,500 at least. Now, it's probably because its continuous rating is 2,000 watts. They can definitely do a lot more than that for starting, which is really nice. We'll have to get some more batteries and do a long-term test on this thing to really get it hot and make sure that it's good all the way through its heat soaking. But what I can do for now is just run this until my battery goes dead. Let's just do that. The heater's still running, by the way. Let's do that, actually. So still running. Let's run this until it won't run anymore. Put that on. Put that on. We're gonna have to let out some air out of the compressor. The chirp saying that the battery's going dead. We're at under 11 volts. I hit the engine start. That should give us a little bit more power. The side, it tells you its output power there. It says we're using 100%. Let's turn the compressor off, see what it says. 60% with the compressor off. Now, the inverter's fans are on. Oh, my engine start timed out. Okay, so the heater is still on. The inverter's hot. I'm going to try turning the compressor on again. This is when you blow MOSFETs. Wow. Fans seem to be working. A little bit of warm air coming out the back. We definitely got it warm. Let's try it again. Well, the compressor pumped up fully, so now, yeah, that's crazy. Let's turn this off. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like this thing right now. Like, I gotta do a lot more testing on it, but I mean, for 2,000 watts advertised, you're definitely getting your money's worth. Like, you're getting your 2,000 watts. The last little bit I'd like to add. I know some people don't like the multi-strand wires. I don't really care. It's all the same. As long as there's the same amount of wire in all these, it'll conduct the same. But what I really like is they do their heat shrink nicely. They don't overlap and go underneath into your ring terminal area. Like that on both sides. That's something a lot of people don't catch, and if that goes underneath your nut here, that can give you a bad connection, give you problems. I've only seen that once ever, but I have seen it once, and it was making an entire solar system fail. Not fail, like all I had to do was get rid of it, but I mean, it wasn't working though. So, yeah, other than some shipping damage that probably happened at the border, this thing is nice. I really like it. I think it's one of the best bangs for your buck at the moment in the 2,000 watt range, and so far would recommend it. Didn't blow up when I